Henry Ford I was a hard bastard. Rockefeller was a hard bastard. Steve Jobs was a ruthless hard bastard.
If you're the type of person that's going to sit back and not do much, you're not going to be attracted to Pena. That's not going to resonate with you. Really, the hardcore people are who go after Pena. So any friend of Dan Pena is a friend of mine. You want to have that gravitas and horsepower when you walk in the room to where they say, this person means business, they're serious. And it's the same type of thing with your branding online and with the research people do about you. It's not just who you are in the room. Because if you walk into a boardroom and you've got the best suit on and you speak really well and you've got a great portfolio and they go and do research online about you and they find out that, yeah, like today you're a deal maker, but last month you were a construction worker, then that's not going to be congruent with where you ultimately want to go. And you're not going to get the best out of it.
We have some sensitive people here. And sensitivity equals fucking poverty.
There's a couple things I'd like to talk to that I think can help you take your QLA strategy, which is great, and turn it up on steroids to be able to get more out of it and create more success in your deal making.
Why are all these guys that changed the world got one thing in common? They're fucking tough as nails. Ruthless.
The first of which is personal branding. We're going to talk about personal branding a bit because as you go out there and implement Dan Pena's techniques, you've got to have a strong personal brand and aura about yourself. Because the time you step into the deal room, they're going to be judging you, assessing you, figuring out who you are. That's why it's so important to wear a suit, to wear something that is very professional, very crisp with well-shined shoes. It's not because business people wear suits. It's because that's the image you want to portray. So personal branding is really important. Let's talk about how we do that. The number one way you can enforce your own personal branding is through LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the professional network that's out there. Everything else across social media is forgivable. Like if you do have a Facebook account or an Instagram account and you're taking pictures with your kids and videos of a cake or something on a kid's birthday, everybody understands that. They get it. But if you're on LinkedIn, that's where people are going to go to figure out who is this person professionally. And there's a couple of things you really need to tighten up with your profile and with your LinkedIn presence in order to come across as the strongest version of yourself. The first of which is that you want to include a picture with your LinkedIn profile. Now, a lot of people may be saying, oh, that's pretty basic. You'd be amazed how many people I come across that don't have some of the basics down. So it's worth covering. Ultimately, a profile with a picture gets viewed, I think it's like 6 to 8 more times than something without. And these days, if somebody doesn't have a picture with their profile, then that may be seen as suspicious. Like, what does the person have to hide? Or do they have a very long-standing professional career? What does that look like? So you need to be able to have a very professional picture, ideally one that shows you in a really good light as a professional, to be able to boost that image and get all the horsepower and tonnage out of your profile you can. Further, you need to provide a brief write-up of your business experience. And this includes any language you might have that would show that you're aligned with the target audience of the individual. So for example, if you're going out there and buying software companies, and that's your goal, or healthcare companies, which are both very good companies with great multipliers, you've got to have something reflected on your profile that shows experience and background in that. You have to. And if you don't have something that's very detailed in your backdrop of the profile itself, put it in the write-up. Put something in the write-up that says at the top, like your summary, yeah, I've spent most of my career doing X or Y, but now I'm focusing on this within software, and this is why I'm doing it, and this is how I can be able to help people. Because you've got to have a degree of leverageability in that conversation so when they research you, they can check the box. Similarly, you got to have language that disarms the prospect's concerns. So if they see you've got a backdrop that's not completely consistent with M&A or deal making, find a way to address that. And one quick way to do that is to essentially say, I've been working in this particular field, field X, for the last 10 years. However, recently I've discovered by working with some partners on this other type of business that I can add incredible value with some transferable skills. And here's what they are. And within those transferable skills, I can help grow companies, sell companies, position companies for exit, find ways to create greater profitability, find ways to assist with due diligence. Whatever the angle is, you got to find it, you got to be clear about it, and you got to tell that story effectively. If you're not able to do that, you're losing credibility out of the gate. And a lot of people that get stuck at the LOI and they can't get past a letter of intent, or in the UK, you'd call it heads of terms, and they don't get a deal done and they never find out why, this may be the reason.
A stiff drink and a good fuck could kill most people in this room. I'm ashamed to say.
Because somebody went and said, their pitch sounds pretty good. They did research on you. They checked you out. They saw some things they did not like within the congruence of your personal brand. And they said, forget it. We're not going to do the deal. Here's the thing. People that I run into are like, well, I don't know why the deal didn't happen. I got them the LOI. They never called me back. They don't know. And not knowing will kill you. But this is one of the reasons why, is that person said, okay, that sounds interesting. They went and did research on you in the backdrop. They found out you weren't all that they thought you were, or what have you, and then they shot you in the head. And now there's nothing you can do about it because you don't even know why they shot you. So then you got to be able to focus on how you can create solutions that meet their needs, and ultimately ask yourself, how will the owner of a company respond to a profile that you've got written up on your LinkedIn? So if you're somebody within the target audience or industry that you're going after, reading your profile, what kind of judgments would you have to say about yourself? And be harsh, right? There's no reason not to. Because the harsher you are with yourself, the more in tune you are going to be with their perspective, so you can fix it. Because you got to fix it if you're going to get any degree of deal flow. And then finally, provide a brief summary of why you're on LinkedIn. And this doesn't have to be anything major. It can be something as simple as, I'd like to connect with people to be able to do deals. I'd like to connect with people on joint ventures. Another clever way you can go about it is to say, I like to connect with entrepreneurs or business owners to save them money, or to help them grow, or to achieve something else that would be very attractive to them in that particular industry. Why? Because you've got to have some sort of reason they care about reaching out to you or responding to you on your profile. Because when they go to do the research, if there's nothing interesting about you or nothing that can help them, not you, you will not get a call back. You got to think of it through their eyes, not yours. Nobody cares what you think. That's the harsh reality. The only thing that matters is what that prospect and that business owner thinks.
Disgraceful, actually. Shocking. Shocking. Are we going to do anything about it? No.
So if they think your profile sucks and you can't help them, they're never going to call you back. If they think you can, they may pick up the phone and actually reach out to you. So the choice is yours. But this is part of the secret sauce that allows you to actually get the better results when you're developing your personal brand. Now, the next thing that comes up is ultimately, how do we take that to the next level? And one of the ways we can do that is by joining groups that pertain to buying and selling companies. And we've got a few listed here that are starters or things that you can use. Feel free to join these. This is very, very high level stuff. You want to really dig into it for your particular industry, your particular focus. But here's the trick. You want to be able to have people going and looking at your profile, knowing that you're a player, knowing that you're part of the industry, that you're part of the fabric. And if they can see that you're part of these groups that align with who they are and what they're doing, your chances and probability of them responding or taking you seriously are going to go way up. It increases your credibility. And there's no harm to you, there's no cost to you. It only takes a few minutes. Go through and add the different groups to your profile that are reflective of your brand. And there can be personal interests in there. If you want to add like skiing or flying airplanes or something like that, go for it. That just makes you more interesting. But make sure that at least 90% of it is business. And the business is focused on the target area you're after. If you don't do that, you will not get the type of results you need as part of this practice. Local organizations can work too, but don't let it make you look too small. If your primary focus is to buy companies in your local area, then by all means, knock yourself out. If you've got a national or global search, then back off on it a bit. Maybe one, maybe two. Beyond that, make it more regional, make it more global. And here's the other thing. It doesn't matter if you participate in these or not. Who cares? The reality is you want to be seen as if you're participating in it. So that's part of what we're looking at. Now, if you do choose to participate in it, there are ways to boost brand awareness. So let's go ahead and talk about some of those. If you choose to participate in some of these groups, you can go into these groups You can like topics that are posted by group members. You can reach out to topic leaders and group members, comment on topics, and even publish PR and different articles to the group. That gets thought leadership out there. Now, you might be thinking, okay, well, that seems like a lot of work. You're probably right. That is a lot of work. It comes down to how much do you really need to have the reputational advantage and be seen as a thought leader in your industry or in this space.
What are you going to tell your grandchildren? What are you going to tell your children 20, 25 years from now? What did you do, Grandpa? What did you do, Grandma, during the greatest transformation of motherfucking wealth in the history of the world? What did you do other than sit on your fucking hands? What did you do to take advantage of the greatest transformation of wealth in the history of the planet? What did you do? Not a fucking thing. That's what you're going to say.